Hi everybody, it's Matt here, your local friendly neighbourhood vestibular migraine sufferer. I hope wherever you are, the cowpox situation's improving and that you're able to step out of lockdown a little bit more. So that, of course, has not been good for us vestibular sufferers, or indeed anybody really, has it? So I've not done a video on vestibular stuff for a while because I was kind of mulling over what my next topic would be. And then it took a conversation with a vestibular buddy of mine called Alex, big up Alex, to point out that perhaps it'd be worth talking about a subject that kind of, I would say, close to our hearts. It's not really, is it? But a subject we've all probably got some intrigue about, and that's consumption of vitamins and how that helps or may not help with vestibular disorders or vestibular migraine. So I'm no expert on vitamins at all, and honestly, if you want to start taking vitamins, it is always best to talk to your doctor. So I'm not recommending you start taking any without consulting with a physician or some kind of health advisor. But obviously with vitamins, they are on the whole pretty good for you. So I would always think when it comes to vitamins, well, they can't really do me much harm, especially if I'm taking them in moderation. It's not like you're putting heroin into your body or anything like that. They are good. They're good for your body. It helps with all sorts, don't they? And they're in foods, and even in the sunshine with vitamin D. So, as I said, we're going to assume here that you're all sensible people and you're not going to completely overdose on vitamin D and end up in hospital, which apparently you can do. So, yes, I'm going to talk about then some of the vitamins that I've kind of been taking because I've had advice or been told that they are potentially useful for vestibular migraine sufferers. So, here we go. So you are my vitamins. There you go, or vitamins, as we say in the UK. So, firstly, there are obviously lots of companies out there that do vitamins, produce vitamins, and even supermarkets do them. I'm not, because I'm speaking on the internet, I'm not going to come down on one side or the other in terms of which company you should use. I personally use a company called Pure Bio. You can see their logo there. So my chiropractor recommended those because he liked the quality of them and he thinks that they are actually really, really kind of pure, hence their name, Pure Bio. Pure vitamins, so they do some good. So as I said, there are others out there. You pick the ones you want. So the first lot of vitamins that I take and still take is a vitamin called magnesium glycinate, if I've pronounced that correctly. As I said, I'm not particularly good with English because I'm from Yorkshire. So the reason why I started taking this is because it is good for fatigue. Now, I think those of you who follow some of my videos, and I know when I was talking to Alex the other day, he's still struggling with quite a lot of fatigue. So when I first started to improve, one of my hangover symptoms was, of course, fatigue. So I used to, for example, need to lay down in bed or on the bed when I got home from work. Or if I knew I was going out on, say, a Saturday evening for a few beers, I would usually in the afternoon, if I wasn't at the football, I would have a bit of a rest and I lay down on the bed and listen to YouTube or whatever. But I've noticed that is happening less and less now, which is good. But I do think that the magnesium glycinate help with that, and so I would recommend taking that. Again, check with your doctor, check on the right doses. That's actually just run out, it's rattling because I've actually had to store some glue in there so I don't get high, because I've been doing a few jobs around the house, so I need to order some more of those. So that's the first one, magnesium. The second one is, this is called riboflavin, if I've pronounced that correctly. So basically, that is like the posh name for vitamin B. I don't know why it has this alternative name. It's probably something scientific, isn't it? So, but it is just vitamin B, but it's actually vitamin B2. So I remember when I first was kind of inquiring about vitamins and vestibular disorders, both Amy Shockett and my friend Ski, who are sufferers, they both recommended vitamin B2. And if you have a look at kind of the things it does have, apparently is good for your brain. And as we know, migraine type things are often connected to the brain and the nervous system, and vestibular migraine's kind of no different. So that's really, I think, why it's become popular in the migraine and the vestibular migraine world. And again, I don't know whether it makes much difference or not, but I think to have a dose of this per day or whatever the recommended intake is, although I tend to always take a bit less than the recommended intake, it can't really do any harm. So that's the second one, vitamin B2. And then the kind of third one that I use, which is kind of a core one, I would say, is called, as you all know, vitamin D. So vitamin D is that crucial ingredient that humans need but don't get much of unless you spend a heck of a lot of time out in the sun. And because I live in the UK, I am from Yorkshire and I'm pale skin, as you can tell. I don't really get much vitamin D from the sun. Apparently it's pretty hard to get from other sources, so it's an important supplement to take anyway. But I have heard, I've seen odd things that, that a lack of vitamin D might be linked to migraines and that sort of thing. Actually, I think there's studies coming out now around the cowpox pandemic, that actually people who get more poorly with that have got a vitamin D deficiency. So it's perhaps even more sensible to take a small dose of that a day at the moment, given that the cowpox is still out there somewhere. So vitamin D, so they're kind of my core 3 ones. I also take some vitamin C when I remember. So it's a bit like when I moisturise. I tend to moisturise when I remember rather than every day. So I take the vitamin C when I remember, but I do get a lot of that anyway in the food I eat and that kind of thing. So I don't think I'm overly lacking in that. So then in terms of vitamins that I kind of took as a result or based on recommendations really for at the time when I was really poorly with vestibular migraine, there's 2 that I'm going to talk about. So the first one is called krill oil. Now I know it sounds a bit like that weird film that was a bit like Conan, but it's not. It's krill oil, which I think is a type of fish. So basically this is a more pure, I'm going to use that word again, pure version of cod liver oil. So my chiro, who I was seeing last summer when I was poorly, I knew him anyway, I'd been seeing him for a few years, but he kind of recommended this because he said it is really good for your immune system. So obviously, if you have a vestibular disorder that may have been triggered by a virus, again, they don't know what triggered mine. It could have been that I had a virus that upset my vestibular nerve and then triggered the continuous vestibular migraine. We don't know, but if you are on kind of like fully on the side of something viral happened to me that caused it, this is probably quite good to take. It's also, as you probably all know, cod liver oil is good for your skin. So I know you girls will like that. Sexist comment, but I don't care. It's good for the hair, so I like that. Obviously, my hair needs cutting. I make no apologies for my hair looking crap, because everybody's does at the moment, given the closure of the hairdressers. And it's good for all sorts. So I took that, started taking that from when I was recommended by my chiro last summer, and I've continued to take that. And the final one is, and I'm just going to have to spin round 1 second. So it's called Turmeric, and that's really hard to pronounce, particularly for a Yorkshireman like me. But unfortunately, I haven't got a bottle of that to show you as an example, but Google it and you'll find it. So I started taking that on the recommendation of my chiro last summer, in the hell of last summer, because apparently it's really good in terms of healing the body. So again, touching on whether with a vestibular disorder, and I would say probably with the vestibular migraine as well, is there's some kind of inflammation of the body. So where the vestibular nerve might be slightly inflamed, or, whatever it is. If it's, say, for example, if the vestibular condition has been caused by, I don't know, your neck being out of line, your C2, that's going to cause inflammation. If there's a link between, fillings and metal and disturbing the vestibular nerves, then again, it's inflammation. So what turmeric is so hard to pronounce that for me. Anyway, what that does is it brings down inflammation in the body. So it's in lots of foods, and you can get it as like a herb supplement. If you're cooking your chicken or whatever, you can stick it in there. But of course, you can get it from Pure Bio and other vitamin outlets. And he recommended taking it. I don't take that at the moment because obviously I've not got a unlimited budget. Sorry, my budget is always limited. So I think I kind of dropped that one away once I'd start to see a lot of improvement. But it's one that I would happily pick up again if I started to worsen or have a relapse. So turmeric, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So there's quite a range there. Some to be thinking about. As I said, I don't know whether they make a difference. Again, it's for me, they feel a bit like they're getting into that realms of kind of like holistic healing and that kind of thing, which for me, in lots of ways, I am more scientific, and I want to see kind of scientific evidence that something works. So with vitamins, you're never quite sure. But as I said, they're not exactly bad for you, are they? They're the kind of things the body needs to function properly and behave itself. So I hope that little rundown there helps. As I said, I'm making this one particularly for Alex. A shout out to Alex. He asked me to do I said I would send him a personal video, and I wasn't able to do it because I went on too long and it wouldn't send in a message. So Alex, this one's for you, buddy. So yeah, there we go. If you have any questions or comments, stick them in the comments below, and I do always try and reply to all your comments. In terms of how I'm doing all right. You know, I'm operating around late 80 to early 90% better, which is great. So I've done some update videos, and I'll probably do another one. It's great to see Amy Shockett do an update video this week. Again, what Amy said there in her video, and what I firmly believe is people who have recovered, like myself and Amy, it's good that I think we have almost like she said, she kind of made a deal with God to sort of help people, and that's a really nice thing. So it's like the Kate Bush, isn't it, deal with God, running up that hill. But I kind of wanted to keep passing the message on, even though I got better, to other sufferers, because I know how bad it feels when you're really poorly and you need that message of hope. So I sound like Jesus, something like that, but I'm delivering a message of hope. Amy's got one. You do get better. You do improve over time. It just takes time. It's just one of those illnesses, unfortunately, that time heals. So Smashing Pumpkins, time heals, but I'm forever broken. Well, time heals. Time does heal, and it would even heal Billy Corgan, despite what his miserable lyrics say. So I'll leave it there, guys. Check out the video. Check out some of my other videos if you need to, and drop me a line if you want to. See you later.